Welcome to Shelf Help. Today we're speaking with Russell and Julia Menez, husband and wife co-founder of RJ
Mhm.
Naturals, makers of Nature's Candy Bar, refrigerated, organic, whole food snack bar. Brands are growing pretty rapidly in Southern California thus far. They have some secure shelf space in some of the iconic retailers in the area, like Mother's Market, Lassen's Natural Foods, just to name a few. I think as well as a pretty growing network of a lot of independent locations like coffee shops, gyms, wellness studios, that kind of stuff. So yeah, really cool brand, really cool product they're building. So we're just gonna dive straight into the backstory. Love to just get quick lay of the land, just in terms of the origin story and the why behind the brand, core
Sure.
products in the lineup today, and then if any there's new doors, new retailers you guys got in recently that you want to call out and try to drive people to those places, you can call those out too, and then yeah, we'll go from there.
Yeah, well, first of all, Adam, thank you for having us on your podcast. This is
Yeah,
the first time Julie and I are doing a podcast episode together,
Yeah.
so this is really awesome. Yeah.
awesome.
So yeah, RJ Naturals, Russell and Julia, that's our brand. 3 years ago, I was actually battling stage 4 cancer, and during that time, we totally switched our diets to whole foods only, and we were being very intentional about what we were putting in our body, and we realized that all of the snacks that we were eating and everything that we thought was healthy for us were not that healthy at all, or at least things we didn't want to put in our body. So Julia got in the kitchen, started making everything from scratch, including our bars that we sell today. And long story short, those bars really helped me out during treatment, recovery. And when I hit remission, we had the idea to share it with the community. That's how the brand was born. Fast forward today, we are in 50 stores, just growing super fast on a mission to make healthier snacks more accessible and bring that real food sense of comfort to
Mhm.
people everywhere.
And so our product is called Nature's Candy Bar. It's a refrigerated snack bar made with grass-fed butter. We have two flavors. We have our original, which is like a cinnamon roll, and then we also have our matcha. And we are based. You want to show? We have some samples here. This is what they look like.
Love it.
We're based in Orange County, and you can find us at Mother's Market, Fermentation Farm, Lassen's, Clark's Nutrition, and then we also have a few stores on the East Coast, like Happier
Okay.
Grocery in New York as well.
Nice. Awesome. Julie, you're making these in the kitchen, and then at some point there, that decision was made. Hey, we should maybe actually share this with people and make this a real thing. I was kind of curious, like I guess, what did that conversation look like, or was there like looking back, was there a specific moment, or I don't know, maybe a specific piece of feedback you got from friends or family, and they were like, you should really turn this into a real thing, or what? Yeah, what was like that special moment looking back, and that would kind of was a light
Yeah.
bulb, we should turn this into a real thing.
Well, I guess looking back, I don't know if there was a specific moment, but I felt like every moment where I felt like it was helping me out and just the taste from it too was just, whoa, I think we really have something special. It was really supporting me during treatment and recovery on my
Mhm.
health journey, on hers too. And both of us, we come from an entrepreneurship backgrounds. We're always thinking about how to solve problems and how to, you know, bring things into the market that can help other people.
Mhm.
And yeah, once we started sharing it with community after remission, people were like, you gotta sell these. And we were like, yeah, we know these bars can help a lot of people. So that's just
Yeah.
really how it started.
Yeah, I feel like so Russell is like he's a visionary. He has so many ideas. He was a Capricorn. So every time like there's something he's like, "Oh, we got to do this. We got to do that." So of course like when we had this, when I was making these bars, he had this idea like we need to share it with the world. Like this is what people need, people want real food that's comforting, that's nourishing, that's real. And so he kind of what led this in the beginning and I was like, "Okay, let's do it. Like I'm down." And so it kind of just like yeah, just started really organically. I have a wellness brand and I was hosting a lot of events in Orange County. And so
Right.
we kind of tested it out too with, bringing these bars to these events, like handing them out, sampling them, getting feedback, and kind of just like testing out on the market too, which then led us to, get into our first coffee shop. And then just like little by little, just like kind of grew from there.
In terms of those early days of formulation and R&D, you
Mm,
know, clearly the bar is about as clean as you can get. I think it's
yeah.
dates, sprouted oats, grass-fed butter, coconut, raw honey, cinnamon, vanilla, sea
Hmm.
Yeah.
salt, which is about as clean as you can get. In terms of those key variables that you played around with, or key factors that were important to you as you were tweaking things? Like, yeah, what were some of the key kind of changes, tweaks you made along the way between that first version you made in the kitchen, Julia, to that final version where you're like, okay, we're ready to bring this, ready to bring this to the market and take it big time?
Yeah. I mean, we actually haven't strayed too far away from the
Oh,
original
nice.
recipe, which is amazing. Yeah, we are able to really just keep that foundation of what I made originally. But I think as we, brought it to market and, we're doing a lot of testing, a lot of R&D, we were just playing around with the different ratios, I would say, like the amount of
Yeah.
salt, the amount of oats, so like those type of things. And, as we enter the food space, we really were learning that like there is a science to food. Like there's so much things of ratios, of shelf life, water activity, like all of those components really are important when you're building a product. And that's something that we didn't really, realize in the beginning because I was just creating this like at home for us. So that was like a big learning curve for us. But
Mhm.
yeah, in terms of R&D, we, because we were able to just share it with our community and kind of start locally first, we were able to do tweaks along the way. So if someone said, oh, it was a little bit too, too sweet for me, then we maybe would like test it out and like lessen the amount of dates or too salty, things like that. Just played around with that. But we kept the ingredients all the same ever since the
Got it.
beginning.
What kind of led you to decide to focus on grass fed butter? And then what has that enabled from a differentiated taste, texture, or something else standpoint?
Yeah, so ever since going through treatment and going through our whole cancer journey, we became really big real food nerds. So everything we were putting in our body was grass fed, everything organic. So when she was making these bars, she experimented with grass fed butter at first. And I think ever since then, we just stuck with it because it has this like creamy, soft texture to it
Mhm.
that you can't find in any other bars. We're currently the only grass fed refrigerated snack bar on the market. So
Mhm.
that's really cool too. And from a nutrition standpoint, grass fed butter has so many benefits to it. We see it as a superfood, I feel like, in the past 20 years or so, but has had a bad rep to it. But I think that's just because a lot of butter out there is processed, but ours is, grass fed and
Mhm.
our superfood.
Why do you think no other brands are using it? Is it more challenging to use and for some reason or another?
Yeah, I think it's very challenging actually. As
Mhm.
we were onboarding with our co-man a few months ago, we realized that a lot of manufacturers don't like to deal with butter just because it messes with their machines or it's harder to make. And then from a shelf life
Mhm.
point of view, the shelf life decreases the butter decreases the shelf life of your product. So we treat the refrigerator as our preservative. So that helps us to not compromise with the butter and the ingredients that we have in our bars. So
Mhm.
that's also why we are a refrigerated snack bar.
And then the other thing I read into was you guys use some, I never heard of these other type of dates. So you can, I'm probably totally butchering the name, but
Yeah.
Deglet Noor dates. So I got that all
Deglet.
close versus the typical of Medjool ones. Like what's the, uh, why those ones versus the more common ones?
For us, it was more of a personal preference. We personally like Deglet dates more. They're smaller and they're less sweet as Medjool dates. So, like most traditional bars on the market, they do use Medjool dates, which is like the most common one. But us personally, we just really like the Deglet ones. And,
Yeah.
we wanted to create something that was sweet, but not too sweet. So that's why we chose Deglet.
Yeah, Medjool grades are alright. Medjool dates are great
Hmm.
and everything, but we even experimented using those too, but it
Hmm.
just didn't taste the same with our bars.
Yeah, makes sense. Anything else that's coming on down on the product roadmap next?
A
Yes,
lot.
we definitely want to expand our flavors with our bars. We have like
Right.
a lot of really yummy flavors that we're already, experimenting with. We won't say the flavors yet, but they're just really good.
We can hit one.
You can hit one? Okay,
Yeah.
you can
Well,
say
I'm
one.
Filipino, so, we had to experiment making a ube flavor, so that's in the
Okay, all
works.
right.
So, ube
Yes.
is one
That
of the
feels like
flavors.
good timing. Ube is all the rage these days. It feels good timing.
Yeah,
Right.
everyone loves ube.
Yeah, and I'm
Yeah.
actually Filipino, so I feel like I have the right to
Yeah, we
to
have
to
to.
make.
My wife's been buying these ube uh pancake.
Wow.
That sounds
Yeah.
Where does
delicious.
she get it from?
That's a good question. I think it was Trader Joe's, maybe?
Oh, okay, yeah.
I think it was Trader
Trader
Joe's.
Joe's has a lot of
Yeah,
ube
Trader Joe's
things.
does really well with
Yeah,
their like flavor.
they do. Well, for maybe some other founders that are, a little bit behind you that are really focused and committed to building just a really ultra clean snack, any just, I don't know, tips you tell them or things you tell them to kind of keep top of mind as they're going through the R&D formulation process?
Right.
Yeah, I think like, The biggest thing is remembering that like being clean is great, but also it's not enough. Like you also have to have a product that tastes good. Like
Yep.
there's a lot of products out there that are clean and maybe ultra clean too, but they might not have that taste factor that'll keep you coming back for more. And I think that is what is lacking in the market. And that's where we kind of fill that void where, yes, we are ultra clean, but we also taste really, really good. Where once you try it, like you're instantly hooked.
Most bars are obviously shelf stable. You guys are in the refrigerated aisle. Was there ever like a conversation where you tried to at some point engineer a shelf stable bar, or was just refrigerated like the plan from day one? That's what you were making at home. You're like, we're committed
Mhm.
to this formulation, how good this is. We don't care. It has to be refrigerated. We know that that's what it needs to be.
Yeah, I feel
Yeah.
like since day one, we never wanted to compromise. So our vision has always been in the refrigerator. But in the beginning, we also did have a vegan option, which was made with coconut oil instead of grass fed butter. And we tested that out for a little bit too, and people loved it as well. But it wasn't the same wow factor as
Yeah.
the grass fed butter bars. So, yeah, since day one, we've just always wanted to get into the refrigerated category and not compromise on any of our ingredients. And we feel like if we were to be in a shelf stable category with all the other shelf stable bars, we would have to, add a bunch of fillers that we don't really believe in.
Yep, totally. Is there a fair amount of like education that was required to kind of show why this is refrigerated to maintain such a great product quality? Or are they kind of open to it right away? Or what did that look like?
No, not really. Like buyers were pretty receptive
Nice.
to our bar. Yeah, I think like the bar category and the refrigeration category is growing. So there wasn't that much education that we really needed to do. I think like because there's so much opportunity, the buyers are really open to trying us out and, building that set. And I think because our product is so innovative too, they're really excited. So like the buyer feedback has been incredible. Every buyer we've talked to thus far has just been like, whoa, like I've never seen anything like this before. Like,
Right.
yes, like we need this in our store.
Yeah, and I think we were very fortunate and blessed that we created a brand in a time where people are shifting
Mhm.
towards real connection. And
Yeah.
I feel like we fill that void with real food, especially with AI and technology and everything feeling so unreal nowadays and everything being processed out there, engineered. People are just looking for that real sense of comfort. And
Mhm.
that's what we provide through our bars and through our mission.
For sure. Yeah, love that. Well, yeah, shifting gears a little bit. I think when we talked, I think it was a week or two ago, you guys definitely made a point to say that you really wanted to do everything by the book from day one, getting the right permits, doing the
Mm.
kitchen conditions properly, all the really unsexy, boring, nitty-gritty compliance related stuff. Yeah, tell me about that journey from going from home kitchen to commercial kitchen, and now I think you guys are in the process of launching with the co-packer as well.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, so like with food, there's so much regulation, there's so many requirements and like rules you have to follow. So we definitely wanted to, do everything by the book in the right way because obviously we're bringing food to market. And we started in the home kitchen, which is where the product was first born, and then we moved to a commercial kitchen, which was honestly just like a bigger scale of our home kitchen. It had more space, more equipment, and it was just like a really great starting point for us to really just grow in our community. And then as the demand started growing, we realized that we just can't make enough bars physically ourselves. And so that's when the
Great problem to
conversation
have.
started. Yeah,
Yeah.
exactly. Yeah. So the conversation started to come up of like, okay, I think we need we're ready for a co-packer, especially with all like these meetings with buyers and big box stores. We have to be able to meet those demands. And, making it by hand in our commercial kitchen just was not efficient enough. So that's kind of
Totally.
where we started and kind of where we're at.
Yeah. Our hands are hurt.
Yeah, it's definitely
Yeah.
a labor of love. Like literally Russell has
Oh my
like
gosh.
like a cyst on his hand now, like an
No.
internal one, like molding the bars.
Yeah.
Like
Yeah.
it's crazy.
I don't want to show y'all.
This is like true under labor of love proof.
Yeah.
That's
Yeah.
wild.
So in the kitchen, in our commercial kitchen, we are making just Julia and I, we'd make about 600 bars a day in like 6 hours.
Mm.
And with our new co-man, we're making thousands in a day now.
Yeah, like
So
hundreds of thousands. The capacity is like insane
yeah, it's insane.
For sure.
yeah.
So yeah, it's been a blessing to finally be able to rest our hands.
Yeah, but also, like, I think that it's important, like, I think that was part of our journey too of doing it ourselves and making it ourselves because we have the control, we're able to really, test everything out, and that's, you know going straight to a co-packer can be like advantageous for some people, but I think for us, for our journey, it was really important for us because yeah, like we were able to just get, get down to the nitty-gritty and just like really get in there. And then that helps us on board with the command too, so that we can communicate, what the process is like, little tweaks here and there and just really
Yeah.
communicate that.
Yeah, and on that point, in terms of as we now transition to a co-packer, thinking
Mhm.
back a little bit of ways when you were in that commercial kitchen and you guys made that decision or call, okay, we can't do this anymore. We got to move
Mm.
to a co-packer. How'd you actually go about? Like, what did that search look like to find the right co-packer? How'd you find about going the right one? What did the search process look like? And yeah, what else can you share that maybe be helpful for some other people that are about to go through a similar journey?
Yeah, finding a co-packer was, oh my gosh,
It was
it
very
was
challenging.
yeah, it was a lot of work. I think we interviewed over 20
I think so.
co-packers.
Mhm.
Insane, 'cause, it's really hard to find a bar manufacturer, especially in California, and after interviewing a bunch, we aligned with, 2 companies, and the one that we are working with today, we really love them. We feel like we were aligned since the beginning. They took the time to look into our story before we all started collaborating together.
Mhm.
Uh, they we're collaborating on ideas, how we can make this work and not compromise on anything else. And their facility is all kosher, gluten free. It was everything we were all about. They make natural products. So we were really blessed to find them. And yeah, it's just, it was really challenging because I was like Googling a bunch of co-manufacturers, and then we were having video calls and all of that. And with a lot of these manufacturers, they really it seemed like they didn't really care what we were making as long as we met the minimums and,
Mhm.
had all of the requirements that they wanted from us. But I think another challenging part was the butter factor too.
Mhm. Yeah.
It was really hard to find a manufacturer that would mess with our or, actually use butter with their machines.
Yeah,
And then
yeah,
also have like frozen capabilities and
Right.
cold storage too. That was a big challenge as well.
Yeah.
totally.
Yeah, so we would find some co-manufacturers that could make our bar, but then they didn't have cold storage, so it's
Mhm.
like, "Oh, no," and
Yeah.
yeah,
So it's definitely just like a process just going through like just, interviewing different co-manufacturers to see like which one would be the best fit for us. But then also like once we found those ones, then it was like diving deeper to be like, can we trust this person? Can we work with this team in the long run to really just produce our product with integrity?
Yeah.
yeah.
You guys are obviously so committed to the formulation. I talk to a lot of brands, and oftentimes when they're making that transition to a co-pack, or they're going from making 600 bars a day to 60,000 bars a day, eventually there's oftentimes they have to make some trade-offs or sacrifices to be able,
Mm.
from a formulation tweak standpoint, to be able to actually optimize, to be able to scale up that much.
Mm.
Yeah.
Obviously you mentioned the butter factor being one thing, but
Mhm.
have you been able to pretty much stick to your guns, or did you have to make any
Yes.
small tweaks along the way to kind of accommodate for your co-packer to be able to produce at a much larger scale?
Yeah, for the most part, yeah, we pretty much, stuck to our guns. We were very strong and we don't want to compromise on anything. I think like the biggest challenge was sourcing ingredients. So with co-manufacturers, of course, like they have their own relationships. They source from different vendors. They're already approved. And so with us, when we were onboarding, it was a bit of a challenge to find like a one-to-one, exact comparison of a product if they weren't going to be able to source from our vendors. But, luckily it just takes time. You just have to be able to do your due diligence, your research to find, the right ingredient that has the right specs. So, our co-manufacturer also is really great. They have really high standards. Like every ingredient has to go through a super intensive review, which is great. It has to be like kosher, gluten-free, organic, all of those requirements. And so that was a bit of a challenge for us that took more time than we expected, but it's worth it because we didn't want to just change, different ingredients because some of you might know that like, with cinnamon, there's like so many different variants of cinnamon. With honey, there's so many different variants of honey and that could totally alter and change the taste. And so with us, we were really very adamant on finding exactly the right like strain of honey and the exact flavor profiling so that we could keep the, scalable production the same as what we currently make.
Spot on.
Yeah.
Yeah.
One thing that comes top of mind, maybe avoid getting tripped up along the way.
I would just say follow your gut when it comes to these co manufacturers,
Mhm.
this is a relationship that you're getting into as well. The cool thing about our manufacturer too is that they allow us to watch over every production run, which is
Mhm.
amazing because with a lot of other co-manufacturers that we interviewed, they didn't want us near their facility at all, which was crazy.
Yeah, that's wild.
So yeah, yeah, and just being able to collaborate with them in that way has just
Mhm.
been amazing. And I feel like when you're looking for a co-manufacturer, that's definitely one of the plus signs that you should look for.
Yeah. Yeah, I feel like, when we got off the call with our now co-manufacturer, we both like looked at each other and we were just like, wow, I think like this is the one. Like
Like,
when you have that
finally.
feeling, yeah, when you have that feeling of like, okay, these people like they get it and they care, like that's so important for us because, we are creating a product that is made from love and it has so much integrity. We have such a personal connection to it. And to like feel that our team at the co-packers, like, they also feel that too, and that they're in on this journey with us, like, really felt like, okay, we can trust them
Yeah.
to, like, build this for us and, like, work with them for the long term.
Yeah, and also a piece of advice for people looking for a co-man too, like once you land one as well, I feel like you should also have a backup plan because stuff
Mm,
does
Good point.
happen. Nothing bad has happened with our current co-man, but we
mhm,
do have a backup plan just in case, you start growing really fast and then the co-man that you currently have, has a little hiccup and can't meet, due dates and
mhm.
stuff like that. You want to be able to have a backup plan to be able to make your product.
You guys are going through a pretty comprehensive rebrand right now. Original R
Yes.
Natural, RG Natural's identity was, something you guys put together pretty quickly, get to market, get some feedback. Now with, a year and a half or so with some actual real world data, customer
Mhm,
feedback, you feel like you had enough data to actually do a brand identity process, brand design process properly.
mhm.
So yeah, tell me now about this kind of rebrand strategy as you're thinking about it. What clarity did you guys gain in the past, 18 months or so that's now kind of driving the brief and what you've kind of given to whoever you're working with to actually bring this to life?
Yeah, I mean, over like the past 18 months, like we've had so much clarity because we were able to really test the market. When we first started RJ Naturals, that, the brand name and the branding, it kind of was just like we just did it and just to get us started. Like we weren't married to the brand name, weren't married to the packaging, but we were like, we just need to get the product out there and just see like how it does and, build that. And like it was such a great starting point, I feel like, because it taught us so much just about the business and just like was proof that we actually have a business and we have a brand that we can create and scale. And now that we're at that point where we are scaling, we're like, we knew we had to shift. And with that clarity, it has brought us to a new brand name that has new packaging, new colors, like a new vibe. But at the same time, it still has the same exact product and the same mission. It's just a new, like, outer. Yeah.
Yeah, and with this rebrand, it'll allow us to expand into different categories outside the refrigerated section, like into frozen, into snacks that are shelf stable, and all of that.
Mhm.
And yeah, our mission is very big, and we feel like to accomplish that, we need a new rebrand like the one we have right now.
Yeah.
But it's funny too, because when we started with RJ Naturals, Julia was like, "I don't even like this name." I'm like, "Come on, it's so
Yeah, I did not like
good."
it. I was like, "No, like, I don't want our names in it." Like, it's.
And just getting a lot of feedback from mentors and people in the community. We kept hearing that acronyms like RJ is not memorable at all, and
Mhm,
it's really hard to, I guess, scale with an acronym. So we've always been thinking of what can we turn this brand into, or what can we evolve into. It's
mm.
not necessarily a rebrand, but more of an evolution.
So the name will be changing, the packaging, the branding, so it's like the colors and, the vibe and like the messaging, but also like our mission is exactly the same. Our mission is to make healthier snacks more accessible. Our product is exactly the same. It just has like a little facelift, essentially.
I like that.
Yeah.
Walk me through to your retail strategy and why you started where you did, where you're thinking where the next few steps are from here.
Yeah, so we didn't want to scale too fast. I feel like we can go national right now if we wanted to, but that just wouldn't make any sense for us to do that. What we're trying to do right now is pretty much just take over our backyard brand awareness and just share real food comfort with people in California. And we've been doing that, and now we're getting retail buyer interest from other states now, and just putting all the pieces together slowly to our capabilities and just going from there. We're in no rush to producing millions of bars right now. We just want to take it one step at a time because this is our first rodeo in the food
Yep.
CPG games. We want to do everything right from getting all of the correct permits to having the right command to just scaling at a level where we can accomplish our mission.
Tell me about that first independent retailer commitment. What that first conversation looked like? How'd you actually get the meeting with the buyer? And yeah, what did that look like to actually get that first commitment?
That's a fun
Yeah, it
story.
was a fun story. Yeah, so Mother's Market was actually our first retailer that we landed, and at the same time, that was also when we landed our first distributor as well, Foundation Foods. And it's funny because it was kind of like a chicken and the egg situation. So we went to a networking event. So we go to like a ton of networking events where there's like buyers, distributors, everyone, and we kind of just cold pitch to people. And we were having a conversation with the Mother's buyer, and it went really well. And he loved us. He loved our product, and he was like, "Okay, yeah, like let's get you in the store, but I would like to see you with a distributor." And we're like, "Okay, no worries. Like, we're on it." And so, like, the distributor was
Go
too.
across the room.
Yeah, we went over there. We're like, "Okay, like, we would love to be with you. Like, this is our whole spiel." And he was like, "Okay, love it, but I would love to see you with a anchor store, like someone like Mother's." And we're like, "Oh, actually, we just spoke with the Mother's. So can you guys like connect and like make it happen?" And so that's kind of like how we got that,
Yeah,
got it
the
all
chicken and the
rolling.
egg
Yeah.
situation.
So it was just interesting how, like, yeah, when you're first starting off, like, you do need, you know, both elements, both pieces together in order to start. But yeah, Mother's Market has been an incredible partner. We love them so
They're the
much. And,
best.
they're in our backyard, they're all around OC. So we're able to go to like literally all the stores, see our product there. We've done so many demos there, getting
Awesome.
connected with them. And Mother's Market is such a great retailer because they value innovation and they also value local brands as well. So that was a plus for us.
These, I guess I'll call them non-traditional accounts, like the gyms, coffee shops, wellness studios. How do you see this channel as you scale up?
Yeah, like I definitely think that, independent stores and coffee shops and wellness studios, they are so important in terms of like community building and getting your product out there, feedback, and just, meeting your customers where they're at and being in those spaces are really important, especially for us as a brand. I think that this channel is still very, very strong for us and it helps us to be able to transition into bigger retailers, because these are where our customers at. This is where the demand is coming
Yeah.
from. And that helps us really move into those stores.
Yeah, and I feel like with the customers that get our product from these non-traditional accounts, these independent stores, coffee shop, gyms, we really implement ourselves in their daily routine, which
Mm,
is amazing. And I feel like that just drives everything towards the big box retailers. So
mhm,
yeah, the small shops are very important to us.
From an actual tactical standpoint, what have you found? You mentioned doing a lot of demos, and I
mhm,
imagine you might say that's been the biggest impactful thing. But yeah, I'm kind of curious what all the tools you guys have been using, whether it's demos or merchandising, point of sale assets, that kind of stuff. Anything else? What have you found has been the most impactful in terms of actually driving velocity at retail?
Demos, like you
Demos for
said, yeah,
sure, yeah.
I feel like just demos with the founders of the company really play a big factor. We're able to share our story, tap in with the community. I feel like we've made so many amazing new friends through demos too,
Yeah,
and I wouldn't trade it for the world. These relationships that we have built with people in the community, and other than demos, I feel like we're really good at social media marketing, just driving social media audiences towards the retailers is the other big factor that or the big strategy that we use when it
mhm,
comes to, uh, a
velocity.
tactical
Mm,
standpoint.
When we talked last week, I think Julie, you kind of mentioned this when you're starting out,
mm,
almost saying yes to almost everything. As you grow, uh, time becomes more limited.
mhm,
All those type of things. You're having to start to say, you learn to say no more. Uh, like what kind of like opportunities are, I don't
mm,
want to call them shiny objects. Do you guys feel like you were saying yes to more in the earlier days that now you're having
yeah.
to say no more?
Yeah. I mean, when you're, a startup brand, there's just so many opportunities that are, constantly coming at you. Like literally you can do anything when you're just starting out because it's a vision. And so I think a lot of, in the beginning, there's a lot of people that have businesses that can help your business. And so in the beginning, there's a lot of people that want to help you grow, they want to be a part of it, and which is great. And so we said a lot of yeses to take a lot of meetings with people who wanted to be a part of our journey, whether that be through their services or their, platforms or systems and things like that. And so we spent a lot of time in the very beginning taking a ton of meetings and calls with like demos and just like anyone that we could talk to, which honestly was really great for that time because it was so helpful for us to learn more about the industry, learn more about what's out there and be able to compare different things. But now in our current like position, I think that we're so much more knowledgeable about what we need and we have more clarity so that we're able to kind of say no to some conversations because we've already kind of experienced all of those in the very beginning.
Yeah.
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 That makes total sense.
Yeah. Yeah, because, time is everything. We can't be on Zoom calls for, the whole day and then not really lead to anything. So we're definitely more intentional about like the calls that we take, the meetings that we take, the people we speak to.
For sure.
Totally. At this stage of the business where you guys are now, 18 months in, I think ish, what do you feel like are the biggest risks to the business at this point? And what do you feel like are the biggest opportunities right now for the brand over the next, just say over the next year or two?
I would definitely say like scaling is the biggest opportunity, but also could be the biggest
And risk,
challenge.
right?
Yeah, and
Yeah.
For
risk.
sure.
Yeah.
Good point.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Growth
Yeah.
can be a
Right now,
double-edged sword for sure.
Yeah,
for
right?
real. Yeah. Yeah. Right now, we are facing a real opportunity right now to grow into a much bigger national brand,
Mhm.
especially now that we have a great co-man. We're also getting a lot of interest from a lot of retailers that we didn't expect to talk to so early. And we're now building those relationships. Uh, by Q4, hopefully, we are going to launch in Whole Foods regionally. So
Amazing.
that's going to be a really exciting time for us. That's what we're preparing for. And yeah, it's a big risk that we're taking, but we're also, not scaling too fast by keeping everything regional here in California. We're going to
Mhm.
keep it in the LA, Orange County area and just go from there.
Well, yeah, this has been awesome, guys. I guess the last question for you. You guys have been really heads down in the CPG world for a long time. You're in stores so much. Any particular brands or just kind of trends in CPG in general that have just been piquing your interest lately?
Oh, there are
Mhm.
so many brands doing such amazing things.
Yeah.
Like I'm so in love with the CPG industry, and it's just
Yeah.
so inspiring to see a lot of new brands and current brands just coming up with new innovative products.
Mhm.
And I just feel like it's very inspiring, especially now that we are, at a time where there's this shift towards real food. And I feel like that's a white space, or we have a white space that we can fill. So it's just really awesome to be part of an industry that has been open arms to us. And I feel like everybody wants to see each other win. And I feel like I've never been part of any other industry like that. I come from the music industry. She comes from the fashion and wellness industry too. It's all
Yeah.
cutthroat. CPG is cutthroat as well, but it's just amazing to see that, a lot of these other founders and partners want to see you win.
For sure. Well, yeah, guys, this has been awesome. What's a lot of exciting things going on with the brand? What's the best place to follow along with you guys individually? And what's the best place for people to actually follow along with the brand itself these days as well?
Yeah.
Yeah, so our Instagram is rjnaturals.us, and that's also our website too. We also have our D2C channel as well. On Instagram, Russell is _rush with two H's, and I'm at Julia Sa. And then we also post on LinkedIn too. Russell is really big on LinkedIn, actually. You do really well on there.
Oh yeah, I'm always on LinkedIn.
Yeah.
Perfect. Love it. Awesome, guys. I appreciate the time. This has been awesome. I think that's the pod.